I'm your host, Davida Shinsky, and you're listening to Live Without Limits, Dreams Come True with the Right Mindset. Today's presentation is called Five Pros and Cons for Adopting European Lunchtime Customs, Crushing the Work-Life Balance. And the work-life balance is so important in how you deal with stress in your life. Work life balance is something that we all crave, yet very few of us are good at. We say we're going to make time for ourselves, but that to do list piles up and we never get to it. It's no wonder we're running around stressed out of our minds half the time with who, marketing, stress as the 21st century health epidemic. Maybe it's time that we take a step back. Maybe we need to look closer at what's working around the world and what's not. How do other cultures emphasize work life balance? How can we learn to prioritize our mental health better? European work life balance. In 2015, I went on a backpacking trip through Europe with my sister. Our 5-week adventure ended up in Santorini, Greece. And there was something that we were noticing. People in Europe took lunch ultra seriously, as in they went home for hours at a time in the middle of the day. In some places, lunch was a bigger deal than dinner or breakfast. The big shocker happened when we went to go to the bank around 2 in the afternoon. As a Canadian, this seemed like a regular time of day when the bank would be open. In Greece, the bank was closed from 2 p.m. to 5 p.m., much to our surprise. So I got Googling, as you do. Closing a place of business for lunch, unless it was a restaurant, was pretty much the norm. While in Canada and the United States, we think it's lucky that if we get away with a couple of minutes more than our regular 30-minute lunch break, here were the Greeks basking in hours of lunch breaks. My 20-something-year-old mind was blown. Fast forward to today. I'm currently living life in Spain, and lo and behold, they've got similar customs here. In fact, Reader's Digest claims that the Spanish take an average of 3 hours for lunch. And surprisingly, they have a really good reason for it. During these lunchtime hours, it's way too hot to work for half of the year. Thus, productivity tanked anyway, and people got tired and hungry, so hungry. Thus, why not take a break? And this actually leads into why do Europeans take naps? So maybe you've heard some rumors or witnessed it yourself. In the Mediterranean, it's also ultra common for people to take naps, a siesta, if you will, in the middle of the day, typically during that lunchtime break. These siestas are thought to improve cognitive performance and alertness. Furthermore, studies show how it may also reduce heart disease. Now, this is a totally something I could get on board with. A long lunch and a nap. Uh, yes, please. But let's dig a little deeper. What repercussions does this have on your work-life balance? Do these countries actually have better mental health than North America? Should we maybe include some of these in our culture also? Do breaks make you more productive? All right, so this actually all makes so much sense. Breaks lower stress, and stress inevitably improves mental and physical health, giving way to tons of benefits here. No wonder siestas are linked with a lower risk of heart disease. And in turn, yes, you might be more productive when you get proper breaks. You can come back to work refreshed, cognitively on, as opposed to simply slowly fizzling out as the day goes on. So let's summarize this real quick. A few pros of the European style: you have more energy, you're more productive, you have lower stress, you have a lower risk of heart disease, you get to focus on life more than work. What about a few cons? The hours of business come to be seen as inconvenient. Napping can sometimes make you feel more groggy. You might not feel like going back to work afterwards. It might feel like more work for some. Families are tough sometimes. It could throw you off task if you were deep in a project of work. Inevitably, the pros are a bit stronger than the cons. Also, so then the big question: how can we incorporate bits of this into the North American culture, bringing work life balance home? Well, we might not be able to choose to extend our lunch break. There are a few entities here within our control. If you're wanting to get more work life balance in your life, try this. Prepare your lunch instead of buying it. And heck, go full European and give yourself variety like tapas or charcuterie. Go for a walk on your break so you feel more alert after lunch. Take a midday nap if you so choose, but keep it to 20 minutes. Experts theorize that 20-minute power nap is the perfect timing for a midday snooze. If you have flexible hours, break up your workday. Try doing 5+ hours before 1 p.m. Then take a couple of hours break and then do another 3. And maybe the above doesn't really work for you. Well, there are a few ways that you can up your work life balance, such as carving out quality time with yourself or your loved ones, scheduling time to exercise, learning to say no, putting your health first, meaning eating out less maybe, planning time off for vacation in advance. Anticipation is half the fun. Find your perfect life balance. It's tough, but it's entirely possible to do, even in the confines of your work hours. And perhaps finding yours is the answer to your stress and feelings of overwhelm. Dig deep. What is in your control to readjust your work life balance? What can you start doing today to tip the scale and truly live your best life. I, for one thing, having a work-life balance is so important because you don't want to get or have stress. And if you don't have the proper work-life balance, you get burnt out in your job, you lose interest, various different things. Therefore, it's important that we understand. And if we look at different cultures and incorporate some of their traditions into our own, it can only benefit us. In the American culture, we're considered a melting pot because so many different people from different countries come here because they want a better life. And yet, many of them also bring their own traditions with them. And learning to incorporate various different traditions can only benefit you in having the kind of work-life balance that you want in your business.